Hey everyone, and happy Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. I don't really know at this point. I am here with my good friend Lucy Seligman of Thanks for the Meal, and we're going to talk a little bit here in just a minute about her experience with launching her first ebook, which I'm so excited about. But first, I just want to make sure that as we go live, that everybody can hear me. If you were in on my live stream yesterday, where we talked about planning out our 2019. You probably heard the story about how one time I went live and my sound wasn't working. And luckily, okay, we're good. Luckily, one of my viewers, Facebook called me so that my phone lit up and was like, we can't hear you, because otherwise I would have done the whole webinar without any sound. And that would have been just the worst. So right before we went live, Lucy and I were both laughing because we actually put on a little makeup. Normally when we chat, we don't always doll up for each other. We're good enough friends at this point. We don't need to throw on some lipstick. But I was laughing because, again, if you saw me yesterday, I was a little bit even more made up and not quite so, because as I was getting ready to come upstairs, it's 5 o'clock here in Springfield, Illinois. It's about 4:30. I decided I'm going to head upstairs and at least throw on a fresh face of makeup. Don't really put on much when I'm just going to and from the preschool with my kids. And as I'm getting ready to go upstairs, my husband gets home right before 5, so my kids are down there and I've got their tablets. That's like my go-to for letting them have their tablet time, but also let me have a little bit of time before my husband gets home, like I said, to throw on some makeup, go over my notes, whatever it is I need to do. And as I'm heading up the stairs, all of a sudden I hear my 5-year-old crying, my little boy, and he doesn't ever really cry. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, what's wrong? And I run back into the living room and he is just full on sobbing. And I feel bad, but my first reaction was like, oh, I don't have time for this. But I lied. I didn't say that. I was like, oh, buddy, what's wrong? He is watching some cat video. And the good old treasures of YouTube, this cat is tries to get into a pub with a fake ID. And the guy won't let him in. And so the cat's sitting there with these fake blue, like anime, pit of tears streaming down his face, and he's just sitting there in the rain. And my son is just sobbing. Oh, the poor cat! I wish I had a cat. I'm like, dude, we have 2 cats. Go cuddle them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, come on. And so then my daughter, who is very, very empathetic, she'll be 4 in February. She starts sobbing because she felt bad that my son felt bad. I felt bad for this fake cat. And I was just like, this is my life. This is, I get it all the time. Like, oh, you're so lucky you get to be home with your kids. I'm like, 99% of the time I would agree with you. And, it could have been worse. It could have been something actually heartbreaking, but it's just one of those things where it's like 4:53 and I'm like running up the stairs as my husband's coming home. Feel like we're, what's that movie? Steel Magnolias, where the little boy is sitting crying because his mom is dying of kids. I was like, that's what my husband's walking into. He's going to think something's wrong, but no, it's just a cat. So didn't even get a chance to explain that. I was like, bye. I ran upstairs, threw on some foundation, threw on lipstick. I'm like, good enough, done. So a little bit of little fun humor there as the work at home mom life. But as I said, I am so happy to be back again today, going live, because like I said, I do have a great guest with me, Lucy Seligman of thanksforthemeal.net. If you've watched my Spotlight series before, you may remember her. I think it was about a year ago, maybe even a little bit longer ago, because I know it was right after she launched Thanks for the Meal. We talked about that, and in just seemingly short amount of time, she's come so far, not just building up her blog, building up her email list with that, but as I said, she has now, or is getting ready to rather, launch her first ebook. So Lucy, thank you so much for being with me. Again, I'm so happy to have you here.
Well, thank you as always. It's a pleasure. And, when your kids are older or when your animal is older, I have a dog who just goes in circles, whether he's happy or sad. So, it's all relative when you work primarily remotely. You never know what's happening in your house. So
absolutely. And, I actually had you in mind, not just because we were, getting ready to do this live stream, but because you are a relatively new empty nester.
Right.
So I was like, okay, just like 13 more years of this. I got this. But not really, because I want more kids.
Right.
But enough about me. With Thanks for the Meal, can you give us a little bit of background again? I feel like a lot of people, hopefully coming over from, Pinterest pals and Facebook where I was promoting this, don't really know a whole lot about you. What made you decide to start Thanks for the Meal?
Well, Thanks for the Meal is actually an outgrowth to my original newsletter called Gochiso-sama, which means thanks for the meal in English, that I started when I lived in Japan. I lived in Japan for over 13 years from, the first time I went, I was 15, and I was there for a summer, totally fell in love with it, came back, told my mom, it's going to be my major in college. I want to go back there. And she looked at me, and the whole family looked at me and went, yeah, right. It was my major in college. And I spent my junior year abroad in Tokyo with a great family, and ended up spending a long period of my young adult life in Japan. While I was there, I started kind of this whole food career, everything from being a restaurant critic. I started my own cooking school, but there wasn't a lot of material in English, any recipes, especially regional or historical Japanese cuisine, that was available. So I started my own, and I did Gochiso-sama. I wrote it and had readers from all over the world for over 7 years. And after that, and after I moved back to America and, kind of started a new life, always in the back of my mind, I was thinking, but I still love Japanese food. It's still a big part of my life. And I know a lot of other people love it too. So Thanks for the Meal is really an outgrowth from my original newsletter. And I had thought, how should I structure it? How should I create it? And it just seemed appropriate to start a blog to begin with. So that's what happened a little over a year and a half ago. And things have been moving forward ever since.
That's so amazing. Yeah, I remember when we first met, this was before Thanks for the Meal, even existed. But I remember you had been talking about it entirely. Like, it's so clearly one of your big passions in life. And, obviously this, and hopefully a lot of my viewers know this, but I'm such a big proponent of figuring out a way to profit through your passions. And not just that, but then to be able to share something that's often so close to your heart, right? In terms of the recipes that you make. And I just feel like food is such an intimate part of our lives a lot of times. That it's just really interesting, getting to see all of these different recipes that you put out. I know you saw, but I actually I didn't. My husband made thunder tofu, which I know is one of your blog posts last night. And oh my goodness, there was no leftovers.
Oh, that's
I felt bad. Yeah, he was like going to take some for lunch today. And I was like, here's some galumpki, cabbage and beef instead. Sorry. But that was such a good recipe. But what would you say is your favorite dish to make?
Well, you asked me that, and one of the best parts about Japanese food, or area that I love so much, is that it's so seasonal. You really eat by the season. And right now in the Bay Area, we're having an unexpected cold chill. So I'm all about nabemonos, hot pots, one pot dishes that you can make at the table. Your guests are with you. Everyone helps in cooking it. And I'm actually having family over this weekend, and I'm going to make a oyster nabe with miso as the main flavoring. And I mean, there's so many different types of hot pots. You could have one, every day of the month. it's like having children. I can't pick just one. You know, I inherently love basically all Japanese food. So it's hard to pick one, but nabemonos are right now very much on my mind.
So I got to know what classifies as like a cold front or a cold chill where you're
I'm
at.
not even going to tell you because you're just going to think we're just a bunch of wusses. But, you know, I was out earlier walking with a friend, and neither of us have been so bundled up in a long time. So we'll leave it at that. I don't want you to get too jealous today.
Yeah. Yesterday, it was a whopping like 32 degrees here, and actually I just wore a sweatshirt. It wasn't too bad. So that goes to show what we've been dealing with here in Illinois. But you know, that's interesting that I never thought about that, like it being seasonal, not necessarily because of what's available, but because of the different, you know, fluctuations. But I guess that makes sense. You know, I know for us, one of our favorite, just in general, dishes to make is butternut squash soup, which is always like a fall. When fall finally rolls around, that's our go-to. So that's really interesting. Are there any like special tools or utensils that people need to have on hand before going over to Thanks for the Meal to look at your recipes?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I actually earlier this year wrote a whole article about, you know, the top 10 Japanese utensils, and actually was more than 10 because I have more than 10 in my kitchen of what you ideally should have in your kitchen to cook. But what I was thinking about today was whatever I'm cooking in my kitchen, whether it's Japanese food or tonight I'm doing an Italian dinner for family that's coming over. When I make the pasta, I will use the extra long chopsticks that I have that I would use cooking Japanese food. So it's, you know, the utensils are quite versatile. I'm more about how can you be efficient in the kitchen. So for example, I do have a Japanese rice cooker. It's not fancy, but while my rice is cooking for the meal, I can be making another dish. So to me, it's entirely worth having. But, you know, if you can't start out with tons of utensils, that shouldn't stop you from making Japanese food. You know, it's way too fun and delicious to wait, basically.
So good. Yeah, when my husband was making the thunder tofu, what is it in Japanese?
Kaminari tofu.
Yeah, that. Not even gonna attempt that. But when he was making it last night, you know, I was sitting in the kitchen keeping him company because that's what I do. I mean, really, it was just tofu, seasonings, and our fryer, which, you know, it was so simple and yet seriously so delicious. I actually made some ramen to go with it because it was very cold here. But it was so good. So again, I think of the dishes that my husband has made for me from your website thus far, that might be my favorite. But
Great.
In general, right, because we've got a lot of people, you know, some food bloggers, some not, but in general, when it comes to running a food blog, what would be your number one piece of advice or something? You know, if somebody's thinking, I want to share my passion for X kind of cuisine, I want to start a food blog, what would you say to them? What kind of guidance can you offer?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, and you've, you know, said this many times yourself, is you need to build and cultivate your audience. And if I had known before I started to build my email list and to build my audience more, whether that's through my blog or through my Facebook page or whatever platform you're using, I think that's really, really important. It makes everything easier. If you're speaking primarily of a food blog, the other part is if you're a food photographer, of course, that makes it a lot easier to do all your own photos for the dishes. I'm not a food photographer. Actually, the Kaminari tofu has one photo that's mine. That's actually the first one I've ever, the second or first or second that I've ever put on my blog. Luckily, it's really interesting. There's lots of stock photos of very good quality you can find for each niche, even very, I would say, unique or unusual Japanese dishes. But, you know, if you're a really good photographer, that will definitely be to your advantage as well.
Well, that's good to know, because I think, you know, a lot of people that are looking to become food bloggers, that's kind of their like hang up, right? Is, oh, am I gonna have to take pictures of my own food? And it gets tricky, right? Because it's like, what if you aren't a great photographer, you don't have good lighting or good camera? You know, can obviously do your best, but it's good to know that even with something that maybe, I don't know that it is, but a little bit more out there, like Japanese food, it's good to know that it's not, you know, in a massive obstacle to try and find stock photos when you can't do your own.
Yeah, that shouldn't stop you, you know, at all. And I have to say, you know, I did this partly not only because I love to share my knowledge and my excitement and passion about Japanese food, but I'm doing it because it's fun. And I love to hear from my readers all over the world saying, oh, where can I get this? Or I tried this dish, or, you know, I'm going to Japan, where should I eat, or whatever. I mean, you know, it goes back to what you've said so many times: find your passion. You'll figure it out.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think that's a big part of it, is you have to go into it because it's fun, not because you think you're going to make $10,000 every month, or, you know, become this world-renowned success overnight. It really is about enjoying the process and having fun with it. And then focusing in on, okay, how can I monetize? How can I make a little bit of money to help keep things going, and, you know, to either take better photos or get better stock photos, or, you know, just be able to, you know, pay yourself a salary. Crazy, I know. But that brings me to then the exciting thing that you've got going on that I am oh so excited about. Tell me, what is coming out on Monday?
What is coming up on Monday is the launch of my first ebook. And I'm so excited because it's all about Japanese New Year's cooking, called Osechi. And for anyone who knows me, they know that towards the end of December, that's all I'm focused on. You know, I go shopping at the local and the best Japanese market. I have really long shopping list. I start celebrating on December 31st into the first day or two of the new year. And, you know, all the food is delicious. All the recipes in my ebook are easy to do and fairly quick, pretty much quick, all of them. And you can pick and choose, you know, what you want to try maybe this year and add on each year. What I really love is some of my readers who I had look at the book before I've launched it in Japan said, wow, I've been making osechi for years and I never knew how to make that. Or thank you so much. You know, I'm going to be trying your recipes this year. I couldn't have asked for a better compliment.
That is amazing. I am, again, so excited for you. And I just love the overall, I guess, idea, the overall energy of this tradition, because it is so much like going into the new year and actually being able to start the year off relaxed, to, you know, just enjoy time with your family and friends, to not be stressing about, you know, wrapping up the holidays and, or, you know, making food every day. Like, I think obviously it resonates really well with me, because it does come down to, you know, yeah, like you said, you've got to have your grocery list, you've got to plan ahead of time. But in doing all of that, in planning ahead of time, getting everything done ahead of time, you then have a few days where you can just enjoy the new year, think about all the amazing things that are going to happen, you know, in the coming 12 months. It's just, I love it. And I love having read this book. You do a great job communicating that. So, you know, not only are you giving us a whole bunch of awesome recipes to put together that are great for not just the new year, but all year long. But then there's that story that's interwoven there of, you're doing this for a reason. You're cooking these because then you have that space to just bring in the new year with a heart full of happiness and relaxation. I just love it.
I mean, I don't do anything on January 1st. You know, I've already prepped. I know what I'm making. And, you know, I'm in the kitchen very little and basically just vegging out with my family and relaxing and enjoying the day, not to mention the great food. So,
right.
yeah, I'm all about that. Yeah.
That is so amazing. That is my kind of way to start the new year. I don't know that we'll go full out that way, but it's definitely inspiration. I'm going to post some of those recipes, but just an inspiration again to plan ahead so that you have that time to just relax and celebrate. And again, that's what the holidays should be about, is being with your family and friends, not stressing about, oh, what am I going to make for dinner? Do we have enough leftovers to get us through the day? What, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it really, really is a great ebook. Whether you are somebody who has tried Japanese food in the past, or, you know, maybe you've tried it like a restaurant, you've never cooked it. Regardless, the recipe's in there. And this is coming from somebody who does not cook. I'm always telling Lucy about that. Like, my husband does, you know, my husband cooks everything. But even if you're like me, you don't cook, hand it over to your partner who does. Hopefully you're married to someone or with someone who cooks.
Enjoy it, right?
Exactly. So it really is, and it's so affordable. It's less than $3. Such a great ebook. You can pre-order it. The link is down in the description of this video. So you can pre-order it. It will come out officially on December 10th. So it's this coming Monday, which seems crazy that we're like closing in on a third of the way through December. I don't know how that's happening, but hopefully buying this ebook then will prompt you to wrap up whatever you need to wrap up for 2018 so that you can enjoy the rest of the year and enjoy your time well into 2019. And one other thing I did want to say, because as I said, a lot of the marketing that I did for this video was to my good pals and Pinterest pals, my Facebook group that's dedicated solely to mastering Pinterest marketing. We've got about 8,000 people in there. Even if you're not in that group, if you are watching this, if you are a blogger of any kind, I have a very special offer for you. If you buy Lucy's book, because again, I love it. I know you're going to love it, but I'm going to throw a little incentive in there. If you buy Lucy's book and leave her a review on Monday, or, you know, after you read it, there's, you know, I want you to rush through it. Read it. You're going to love it. I know. Leave her a review, an honest review. Again, I'm sure you're going to love it, but leave her a review. Email me, Facebook me, let me know. I will give you a coupon code to get my Pentessential Planning course for only $10. It's normally $100. So you can basically get it for less than $13 by, again, first investing in this great ebook that's going to motivate you to wrap up 2018 with a smile on your face, go into 2019 with a full tummy, but you're also getting a great course that you can use to hopefully market your own blog, whether it's a food blog or otherwise. A really great opportunity here. So be sure to take advantage of that. Again, the link to her ebook is down in the description below. If you have any questions or anything about that, be sure to let us know. We'll both be checking the comments for that. But other than buying your ebook, how else can people stay in touch with you?
Well, I'd love if they join my email list. And if you go to www.thanksforthemeal.net/email and sign up, you get free Japanese salad dressings recipes as sort of a gift. And that will keep you up to date with what's going on in my world. And I post blogs a couple times a month. And this ebook I'm going to turn into, also offer as a softcover book next year. I'm already thinking about my next ebook that I want to do next year. So lots happening.
That is so exciting. Again, it's just so amazing. You know, a year and a half in one way seems like forever ago. But on the other hand, it really isn't. And for you to be able to have come so far and again, launching your first book, like that's so major. But if you are somebody who's like kind of on the fence about investing in this book, again, you should. But if you're on the fence, absolutely sign up for her email list, get a good solid sampling of the kind of recipes she shares, her writing style. I will tell you there's one dressing in there. It's one of the vinegar-based ones. It is heavenly. It's so good. So if nothing else, sign up for her email list and try out these salad dressings. But like I said, this ebook is absolutely phenomenal. There's nothing else like it on Amazon. So, I feel like you're kind of opening a door here, but you can always say you were the first. Yes, absolutely. So please pre-order her book, get a review up on Monday or Tuesday or whenever you have a chance to work through it. Let me know what you think. Let Lucy know what you think. Lucy, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I really appreciate it. I know other people have as well. It's such an incredibly unique niche, I think. And it's really special that you are able to share all of that with us.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure as always.
All right. Well, I will talk to you all later. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Tuesday. And like I said, go check that link out in the description below and pick up a copy of her book. Bye.
Sayonara.